About Paul and his conversion. The Apostle Paul, whose death was circa the year 64. If the most well-known preacher in the world today were to suddenly begin preaching that the United States should adopt Marxism and no longer rely on the Constitution, the angry reaction would help us to understand Paul's life when he started preaching that Christ alone can save your souls. He had been the most ideological, Pharisaic of the Pharisees, the most legalistic of Mosaic lawyers. Now, he suddenly appears to other Jews as a heretical welcomer of Gentiles, a traitor, and an apostate. His conversion was such a change of water for him that for many years, many of the first Christians wanted to have him thrown from the meetings and scourged, as they had been after his capture of them, and they were sent to prison and torture. But Paul's conversion and strength as a man of thought, a man of lessons, and a persuader of people uncertain. For instance, Paul could say, with Christ as your God, you need never again debase yourself to a goat or any other farm animal. Doesn't that make you feel lower than dirt when you do it? Oh yes, I don't like bowing to something I milk or something I use for dinner or any other things. It is so stupid. And Paul would welcome them to the Church of Christianity, explaining that no, it wasn't Judaism, but its founder and all the original members were practicing Jews. So many things were taken from that religion, yes, but not the onerous acts that didn't make sense in this new century. It might have needed to be done maybe 1,000 years ago, but is just a waste of valuable resources now. And so he founded churches in multiple countries, and he assisted in helping smooth the wrinkles created by anti-Christian preachers in others. Paul's central conviction was simple and absolute. Only God can save humanity. No human effort, even the most scrupulous observance of law, can create a human good which can bring to God as reparation for sin and payment for grace. To be saved from itself, from sin, from the devil, and from death, humanity must open itself completely to the saving power of Jesus the Christ. Paul never lost his love for his Jewish family, though he carried on a lifelong debate with them about the uselessness of the law without Christ. He reminded the Gentiles that they were grafted on the parent stock of the Jews, who were still God's chosen people, the children of the promise. Paul's experience of the risen Jesus Christ on the road to Damascus was the driving force that made him one of the most zealous, dynamic, and courageous ambassadors of the Christ the Church had ever had. But persecution, humiliation, and weakness became his day-by-day carrying of the cross, material for further transformation. And the dying Christ was in Paul. The living Christ was his life. But the burden of the cross Paul carried. Every day of his life, he never complained about the pain. He never complained about any of the burdens he carried, for he saw that as the necessary burden he had to carry so that he could better understand the Christ, so that he could better represent the church, and so that he could be a better speaker for Christ. May you all look to Paul when you feel troubled, when you feel that you're at the end of your rope. Call out to Paul. Please, St. Paul, help me. You withstood so much pain. You withstood so many things. You were imprisoned so many times, and yet you never turned away from Christ. You never thought, if this is the way God loves, why should I continue? Help me, Lord. Help me. And St. Paul will be there with you.